Hello, friends. Hey, everyone. So, I don't know if you noticed this with like the worldwide pandemic and everything, but it has been a perfectly beautiful spring. Like, I think if we hadn't had the coronavirus, this spring would be the only thing we were talking about. Like, the tulips were awesome when the azaleas came out, and it doesn't always happen that way, and the dogwoods were in perfect bloom right in the middle of them. The only thing that was missing was the Masters golf tournament. There was an Argentinian poet named Pablo Neruda who said you can cut down all the flowers, but you can't stop spring from coming. The other day I saw on, I think it was like WBIR.com, where it said that they had canceled the synchronized fireflies. There's a place like in the Great Smoky Mountains up at Elkmont where in the first week of June, it only happens like in 2 other places in the world, where for about a week the fireflies, like they're flashing and everything, and then they all stop together for about 2 seconds, and then they start up together, and then they all stop together. And it's like really kind of amazing. But they said they were canceling them. Well, so there's shuttle buses that go from the Sugarlands Visitor Center up to Elkmont, and you have to get reservations and all that stuff. And they said they were canceling because of the coronavirus, the synchronized fireflies. And I thought, I don't think you can do that. I don't think you get to make that call. And then I realized, oh, they mean they're canceling the shuttle buses. I can't cancel like the fireflies because just spring is a time of hope. I read an article this week that said this spring in particular, when people needed hope and courage, that on Twitter, this is the spring of Jeremiah 29:11, which is a verse about hope, courage and hope, where it's the one, I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord, not to harm you, but to prosper you and to give you a future and a hope. And they said this article said of the 200 million tweets that are tweeted every year, 40 million of them have verses from the Bible in them. And if you rank those verses, Jeremiah 29:11 ranks number 3. And the only kind of problem with that is, of all those 40 million verses that have 40 million tweets that have Bible verses in them, 20 million of them come from like Bible spam, automated bots, like an automated software that just sends them out. I don't know why a bot would know that people need hope and courage right now, because like a bot doesn't have courage, a bot doesn't have a heart, a bot doesn't have a brain. A bot is like the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion, like all in one. But it is an awesome verse for this time about hope. The only thing is that sometimes people think that Jeremiah 29:11 is saying that if you trust Jesus enough, even though times are kind of foreboding and everything is going to be always awesome. And you're never going to have to go through anything difficult or painful or sad. There's a verse in Psalm 137 that says, it's really sad. It says, by the rivers of Babylon, we sat down and wept. And the people of Babylon said, why don't you sing those songs of yours? Why don't you sing those happy songs that you have? And they said, how can we sing the songs of Zion in a foreign land? We're in Babylon. That's really what Jeremiah chapter 29 is about. It was a letter that Jeremiah was writing to his own people, getting them ready to accept their deportation, that they were going to go to Babylon. And Jeremiah it was going to be a major disruption. And Jeremiah 29:10 says, you're going to be there for 70 years. But, and if you were a lawyer in Judah, you won't be one in Babylon. If you were a professor in Jerusalem, you won't be one in Babylon. If you were a doctor in Zion, you won't be one in Babylon. They're going to speak a language you don't understand. It's going to be food that you're not used to. But you just need to calm down, lean into this, just accept it. Settle down, plant your gardens, Plow your fields, raise your vegetables, raise your families. Settle down and settle in. Because God knows the plans that he has for you. It's not to harm you, but to prosper you. This is about the future. You need to know that God knows what he's doing. He knows why this is happening, and he knows where this is going. He has a plan. This is a plan. And you can settle down and trust him. You know, I remember back in, it was kind of, I think, maybe the middle of February, that I was reading this article about like the coronavirus, and it says that it was going to cause, we needed to be prepared for major disruptions. And I thought, well, okay, as long as it's done by the end of March, because I was counting the day till opening day of Major League Baseball season. And then we didn't have it. And I thought, wow. But I thought it's just like Jeremiah said. God has a plan. He knows what he's doing. He knows why this is happening. He knows where this is going. I need to calm down. I need to lean into this. I need to settle down and settle in. You know, I remember a time when it was 1985, and Tina and I had just moved to Florence, Italy. And we had a 6-year-old and a 5-year-old. And a 3-year-old. And we moved to a city where we had a tiny little apartment. Nobody spoke English there. We didn't speak their language. We didn't know anyone. We were isolated and lonely, and we felt sometimes helpless. There wasn't the internet back then, and there wasn't cable TV. We had a tiny little black and white TV in our apartment with rabbit ears and like 3 channels. And you know, we wound up going to school to learn their language, and then I would watch cartoons with my kids. They had those anime cartoons, and I knew all of the songs. There was one about 2 boys that played soccer. Due sportivi, due ragazzi, per il calcio, sono pazzi. Un portiere, un attaccante, Oli e Benji. Due speranze, I could still remember it. But we had no friends, and we had no family. To have more family, we made a baby. But the reason we made it is because we knew it was God's will for us to be there. We knew it was a plan. You know, living in Florence, it seemed like such a big city. And so in the afternoons, the kids would take a nap, and I would get a map, and I would just go for a walk, and I would walk down across Viale Messaggio, and I'd go down Via Mazzini, and then I would walk and follow my map, and then I would see the roof, the dome of the Cathedral of Florence, which was enormous. And I would look on my map, and you could see it from like everywhere, and I would think, I know where I am. I know where I am. And I would go home and tell Tina, I know where we are. And we would go for a walk, and I would tell her with the kids, I know where we are. And I felt a little lost in this thing, and I felt a little helpless, and it's been confusing, the thing that we're in right now. But I was reading last week through the book of Jeremiah, and I got to chapter 29. And I thought, there it is. I know where I am. I know where we are. I just need to calm down, lean in, settle down, and settle in. We're going to make it. This is a plan. God knows the plan that He has for us. It's not to hurt us, but it's about the future. He knows what He's doing. He knows why this is happening. He knows where this is going. We're going to be okay. Love y'all. We'll see you in a few days.